I was anxious when I first saw the Wizard King Julius Novachrono. In the world of Black Clover, magic is currency, it's status, and he sat at the very top. He was at its pinnacle. But I always anticipated, wondered a little bit, and at times believed the smiling, almost all-powerful leader of the Magic Knights was evil. Today I want to look into why I thought so. For me, it wasn't that he was always skulking around and watching over his knights, or that familiar trope of the unknowingly evil Dark Lord leading the good guys. It was actually his powers, his magical power of time manipulation. See, in stories, especially in anime, characters' abilities can speak volumes of their personality, their style, their archetype. Fire wielders tend to be hot-headed, ice wielders are usually cool, calm, and collect. With the Wizard King's control over time magic, I believe he would be unbeatable, overpowered. It'd be too easy for him to win. Usually, we see his ability in the hands of an enemy for the hero to defeat. But with one of the protagonists wielding control over time itself, like what problems couldn't he overcome? The Wizard King's ability is almost as limitless as his coverless grimoire of spells. He can accelerate, decelerate, stop, or even reverse the flow of time. He's been seen to actually restrain his opponents in a time loop. He even has the ability to increase his magic perception to the point of premonition and see briefly into the future. The exact nature of his magic is actually stealing time from his targets, and that stolen time is stored away, reserved for later use. He's basically a time vampire. He's essentially a time vampire. I mean, come on. Are you telling me that this doesn't fit some sort of secret Dark Lord scenario? And that's just a portion of his time manipulation, to be honest with you. Imagine what you could do with that power. There are many powers usually associated with villains, such as mind control or hypnosis, where a person's will or mind is taken over. Hitoshi Shinzo from My Hero Academia has to deal with his brainwashing quirk being seen as an evil, being seen as a series that strengthen this association. For me, is actually JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or just the whole series. And the story of the Joestar family, whose various members discover that they're actually destined to take down supernatural foes using unique powers throughout generations. First is the Ripple, then of course it stands. But the deadliest and most diabolical JoJo antagonists always have some sort of time manipulation powers. I mean, they're inventive, but they're usually around time manipulation. So far, in the anime at least, we've seen the final antagonist stop time. We've seen one who's able to rewind it. We've seen one who is able to actually have premonitions and then be able to skip time, like delete the moments between two sections of time. Each of these characters going against the natural order and universal constant experienced by all. But Julius was actually not a bad guy like I thought, or his power suggested. I'm sure he starred as the overpowered, pure-hearted protagonist his own shonen story, but I find it interesting how abilities can build a character. A specific power can be a small wink to the audience, or become the obstacle for a character to actually overcome. I mean, time magic is pretty badass if you ask my opinion. It's not really my go-to if given a choice, but what's your favorite power or ability? For me, it's wind control actually. I'll explain in the comment section down below. See ya.